This is the ultimate team. All these guys bought into everything they needed to do to be the best players that they could be. There's more togetherness on this team than almost any team that we've ever had. And they had to overcome and persevere so much adversity through this season, and they've done it magnificently. And I'm so proud of this group for what they've been able to accomplish and going undefeated and winning the national championship.
Streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and the Tide 100.9 app. Here is your host of Off the Edge, Jacob Harrison.
Disappear like man was never here. Live machine. Our future's supreme. Your man overthrown. Spit out the ball.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome into Off the Edge, Tide 100.9, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. I am Jacob Harrison, Joe Gaither behind the glass producing the show. It's a great day to talk about football. We'll do that for the next 57 minutes here on the program. Show, as always, streams live on the Tide 100.9 app, your absolute best friend as a Crimson Tide fan. Whether you need our written content up to date with all the latest breaking news, galleries, opinions, columns, you name it, we've got it there at tide109.com as well, or the on-air content live and local from 6 until 6, most days until 7, other days until 8, tonight until 9, and then a quick little break, and we'll get back with the scoreboard show with Bryant Horn. But Kerry Clark and I will be here from 6 to 9 following the game with Ryan Fowler to give you the latest in what's going on in high school sports. Is last night Northside kicked off with a big victory, but tonight most of the action will kick off for the West Alabama area high schools, so we'll keep you up to date on that. We'll discuss it a little bit later in the show with Joe as well. But the show is always brought to you by Alabama Vintage, AlabamaVTG.com, at AlabamaVTG on the Instagram account, where you can connect with the brand ambassadors for 15% off your order at AlabamaVTG.com. And Charlie's got a great stock for you, whether it's the growing selection of jerseys, hats, shoes, commemorative T-shirts, jackets, you name it. And Charlie's got it in store for you, whether it's the Alabama Crimson Tide vintage items, vintage professional gear, vintage clothing of all kinds, as well as the memorabilia that can line your home as well to fill up that man cave, fill up the she shed or the lady cave, whatever your needs are for Alabama vintage memorabilia and clothing. Alabama Vintage, 2210 University Boulevard, under the Crimson awning across from City Hall. At 11:15, we will welcome in Jimmy Stein, who has his hands dipped into a lot. He, Locked On Alabama podcast, works over there at On3, which they're doing, a lot of big things as well as they get started up, but also QB country. So we're going to pick his brains on the quarterbacks here at Alabama, the quarterbacks that, are expected to be big deals throughout the country in college football, but also, some local names with some quarterbacks that are going to get started here tonight, as well as the big time recruits in the pipeline for Alabama. And the reason behind that is because yesterday I got to hear from Bryce Young for the first time in the media, and he was very, very impressive. Even when there really wasn't kind of an answer there, Bryce Young could formulate something that gave you a lot of information as to how mature he is, the leadership qualities of the kind of player that he is. And all of that to say, he gives such a cool demeanor. It's no wonder that he's ready to take on this role as the starting quarterback at Alabama. It's no wonder that Nick Saban didn't have to name him the starting quarterback. It's just obvious. You can't. You really have to be something very, very special, somebody very, very knowledgeable, somebody with immense talent to really stand ahead of this guy. And really and truly, the only thing that probably kept this kid from being on the field last year was Mac Jones's experience and the COVID situation, those sorts of things, right? So he talked about how, as a quarterback of his caliber, you're not looking to avoid the pressure. You're not looking to avoid the expectations. You're looking to fight those distractions and stay focused and do all the sorts of things that lead to being a champion. Joe, we'll play that one. Fighting expectations and staying focused because or distractions, and the way that he goes about that is, and every answer, it's not player speak, right? It sounds genuine, like so often with in the media, we get those answers like, yep, that's kind of what we thought you would say, or well, you said a lot but you didn't really say anything. But instead, we actually learned quite a bit about Bryce Young, and here's what he had to say about fighting those distractions and embracing what it means to be the starting quarterback here at Alabama.
I think really it says a lot about Alabama, and it's honestly not too hard with the culture that we have. Coach Saban from day one, when all the external stuff started to pop up, and it's been going on for a while, with there being whatever distractions there may be. That's something that we preach a lot about, making sure that we keep the main thing. And we've talked about that a lot in house, and that's something that we really live by. So for us, we're really motivated by working hard and making sure that we attack the challenges the way we want. And really those distractions, whatever they may be, they're always going to be there. And really the culture that we have is something that's really strong, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And it really just keeps us focused on what we need to be focused on.
And that's the goal, really, right? Is for everybody to stay focused and to fight all of these things. And that's what Nick Saban talked about too in his opening comments on his, normally scheduled Wednesday press conference is to fight all of that, to fight the complacency. Don't get stuck in the idea that the AP voters named you the top team in the country. That doesn't matter. That's speculation, and that's an assumption. That's not something that you've actually earned. Sure, we can look back to last year's defense as we did earlier in the week and say, well, wow, that they really did something very special. And with all the carryover and additions, you would expect it to be even better, right? Certainly, right? That's what analysis is. That's what speculation is. But on the flip side, this is a brand new team. And last year has almost you can draw your analysis, you can draw your assumptions from last year. But in reality, this is a brand new team. There's new coaches, there's new schemes, or there's adjusted schemes. I wouldn't say there's brand new schemes. But you've got the new starting quarterback. All of these factors play into the fact and the idea that it's a new year and it's a new effort. And you have different opponents on the schedule in a different order, and you got to go out and you got to handle your business. And that's kind of what Bryce Young is talking about there, echoing Nick Saban. And that's why when he was asked about what his game is like and who he molds his game after, first of all, in his game he only talked about his leadership. He didn't talk about his arm strength or his maneuverability, his ability to make people miss in the pocket and those sorts of things, his immense accuracy, his camaraderie with his fellow receivers, or any of those sorts of things. He talked about his leadership. And when he talked about the quarterbacks that he molds his game after, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Now I know there's a lot of questions about Aaron Rodgers and his leadership capabilities, but make no mistake, there's a reason he's one of the best in the league. Between those,
sold his soul to the devil,
right? Bears fan. But you still look at those two guys as immense leaders. They motivate the men around them to get the job done, right? It takes somebody very, very special to get those kind of things done, and that's what Bryce Young is showing that he's bringing to the table. He is somebody that understands what's valuable as a quarterback in the SEC, what's valuable as a quarterback here at Alabama. And if you can translate, and I have no reason not to believe that he can't, if you can translate that cool demeanor in a in a 12-minute press conference where you get 12 questions and you knock them all out of the park. Sure, it's a different environment, but just the ability to stay calm and cool in those situations and translate that to the field, there's something there. There is something there. There's something to kind of bring that excitement out in you and feel confident that Bryce Young really can get the job done. I know there's not a lot of people that are that are actually like speculating that he's going to be bad or anything like that. It's the fear of the unknown complex where, This is the 5-star quarterback. He's got such high expectations. How can he possibly meet them? With Mac Jones, there were no expectations. With Tua, he didn't necessarily meet the expectations because of injuries. With Jalen, there really kind of wasn't any expectation, and he kind of exceeded and blew them all at the same time, right? So it's been a while since we've seen a guy have to deal with so much in this category and actually truly fulfill it. And that's what we're waiting to see in 15 days, when the Alabama Crimson Tide takes on the Miami Hurricanes with a veteran quarterback at their disposal. There's a lot to learn there. And we'll talk about those quarterbacks here next with Jimmy Stein of QB Country on 3 Sports and the Locked On Bama podcast. Next here on Off the Edge, Tide 100.9, your home for Alabama sports.
Touchdown! Alabama wins!
The Alabama football countdown clock is driven by Crawford Insurance, Tuscaloosa's low-cost auto insurer. Call 752-6489 for a free quote today.
Roll Tide! Roll Tide!
There are 15 days until Alabama football.
Dominate!
Don't miss a play at the Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Your front row seat to all the action. Place bets on all professional and most college sports at the counter, kiosk, or on your phone. Then catch the game on one of our 20 big screens from the comfort of the newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. Plus, the PRR Sports app gives you access to live, in-play sports betting. Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Be more than a fan. Be a player. Must be 21.
You and your phone have been through it this past year. It's been your lifeline to the world. And now some big wireless company is telling you got to buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too. Because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited talk and text smartphone plans starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Harry's back.
Can I get your attention? I like it when you smile.
Time to play. Harry Connick Jr. and his band.
It was great fun.
Performing songs from across his career.
One of those things.
Harry Connick Jr. Friday, August 27th, Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. Reserved seats are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss this very special engagement with Harry Connick Jr. and his 7-piece band. Time to play, part of the Coca-Cola Concert Series.
Hurry to JCPenney and score 3 days of big savings for back to school. Shop hundreds of doorbusters all day, Friday to Sunday, while they last, and stock up on active gear like 50% off select exertion tees, tanks, and capris for women. Plus, get fast savings on Fila athletic shoes for the family, starting at $24.99. Or use your coupon and get an extra 30% off at checkout. Weekdays are back in style. JCPenney. Doorbusters valid 8/20 to 8/22 and excluded from coupon. Coupon valid through 8/22. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A few showers and thunderstorms are likely this afternoon and tonight. The sky mostly cloudy. The high today 87, tonight's low 72. Tomorrow occasionally cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms around. The high at 86. I'm James Spain on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 78 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to Off the Edge on Tide 100.9.
We're back here on Off the Edge, Tide 100.9, your home for Alabama sports. Jacob Harrison here with you. Joe Gaither producing the show. We're about to go out to the phone lines and welcome in Jimmy Stein at QB_country on the Twitter account. On 3 Sports Bama analyst, the recruiting coordinator at QB Country, co-host of Locked On Bama podcast, Inside the Crimson Tide on Sports Talk 99.5 Thursday and Friday. And that's just what he can fit in his Twitter bio. Jimmy, welcome into the show, man. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Plenty of quarterback names to dive into and get an idea of. And with Bryce Young yesterday meeting with the media for the very first time, I'm just kind of curious what your impressions were of him in those 12 minutes that we got to speak with him, and his discussions on what his leadership skills were like and how to battle the expectations that come with being the starting quarterback at Alabama.
Well, I'd seen him speak before, so I wasn't as stunned or shocked by it as I would have been had I never seen him speak before, but he is remarkably poised and mature. He is outstanding in front of the camera. I think for such a young player to have that sort of maturity, to be able to handle that, it's unbelievable. I won't be surprised, Jake, if whenever his football career ends, whether it's 4 years from now or 20 years from now, I won't be surprised at all if he has a career in sports broadcasting in some capacity, because he's that good. Just real mature. You can tell the leadership skills, all the intangibles. I remember when Bryce was a prospect, and I would brag on how good I thought he was going to be. I would often start with the intangibles, which really showed themselves in his time on the Zoom call with the media yesterday. Just really bright, really poised, really mature, natural leadership skills. And then you just throw in the physical ability at the end, his feet, his release, the arm talent, the speed, the overall athleticism. You can see why he was one of the most highly recruited quarterbacks in the country in his class.
No doubt about it. He's a cool cat. And, I guess that's that, Southern California kind of lifestyle, just showing out in him. But, that all those, qualities that you just listed off, those are kind of the baseline of what makes for a great quarterback. But then when you get into the athletic skill, somebody that I've kind of talked about a little bit in my comparisons with him, I like the Russell Wilson thing with him yesterday, talking about a guy that he watches film on. But just in college football, from an excitement standpoint, I kind of think of a Johnny Manziel where, strictly on the field, of course, but at a Johnny Manziel that can, provide that sort of excitement, whether it's pirouetting in the pocket, making guys miss, and then slinging it downfield with even more arm talent than Johnny had. What kind of play style are you expecting out of him? The level of success that we're expecting from Bryce Young here in year one as a starting quarterback?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts was very athletic. Tua was athletic, but neither of those guys, I think, has Bryce's pure athletic skill in terms of how quick his feet are. He's a lot twitchier than those guys. You know what I mean? I mean, he'll make people miss. I mean, in the open field, almost like a punt returner. I mean, he'll make people just flat out miss, and then he'll run by people. So I think his athleticism is just one more step forward from where Alabama was with the Jalen and with the Tua, who are both plus athletes, for the position. And in terms of playing style, I like both comparisons you made, particularly Russell Wilson, because, even though Russell's very athletic, I think everybody that watches him play now thinks of him as a passer first. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how Bryce would like people to view him is, hey, yes, I'm a good athlete, but I can really throw the ball. And that's what I think of with Russell and with Bryce. In high school, I was comparing him to Kyler Murray quite a bit, which isn't really fair in the sense, Kyler was a Heisman winner and first pick in the draft, and that just puts such unfair expectations. But I think his game is similar to Kyler's. And by that, I mean, similarly sized. I think Kyler at the same stage was a little more athletic than even Bryce. I think, Kyler can really, really run, and Bryce can too, but I think Kyler, just a little faster, a little twitchier, but Bryce may be a little bit more polished of a passer at the same stage, coming out of high school. So I think Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, sort of, that's what he's going to be like. Now, it's not fair to expect that level of performance, but I won't be surprised.
What about the arm strength with Bryce? A 6 foot tall quarterback that's pushing 200 pounds at best. You kind of think about, can he push the ball downfield? Can he fit that velocity throw in over the middle? When you talk about Russell Wilson, he's a 6 foot tall quarterback too, but one of his best traits is the ability to push the ball downfield. Do we kind of see similar things with Bryce Young now that he's got guys like Jamison Williams who can really push the field?
I think it's good enough. I think it might be one of those traits. In just terms of velocity and arm strength, period, I think it's good enough. Is it something that's going to be, among the best in the SEC? Probably not. I mean, just in terms of being able to, fire a ball through the car wash and the ball doesn't get wet. He's not one of those guys, but he can. He has I would say he has adequate arm strength for the position in this league, which means he has plenty of arm. Now, is it? It's not going to be something that the NFL is going to grade as an A+ sort of thing with him, but it's good enough. And the deep ball, he has enough arm to where the deep ball will be very effective. But Bryce has such a feel for the position. He's going to throw the deep ball on time, and that's as important as anything else. With him, it's going to be on time. He's very accurate. He's very instinctive. He has some anticipation skills. All those things add up to an accurate deep ball. It's not just about the ability, to fling it 70 yards on a rover.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we see, past 2 weeks with Mac Jones, that's been the case, with being able to push the ball downfield with the Patriots. Tua very much in the same sense. Tua has a much more stronger arm than Mac, but I digress. But a guy that does have a very strong arm for the Alabama Crimson Tide, looks to have locked down that backup position, is Paul Tyson. Now, hopefully we don't have to see that much of Paul Tyson out of fourth quarters, except for fourth quarters this year. But what has he kind of improved on that you've seen here as training camps gotten underway?
I think with him now, with Paul also is a guy that has a great feel for the position. I'll tell you, the guy I've always compared Paul to, and he's sort of tracking him in a way, is Jacob Coker. I think there's some Coker in him. Big, strong guy who's played a lot of quarterback, who's played a lot of ball, who's very comfortable, who might not necessarily, you might not put an A+ in every box, but he checks every box. He's got a good arm. He's got some accuracy. He has some athleticism. But I think for a guy like Paul with his skill set, he will be at his best when he has a complete and total understanding of the offense, the offensive scheme, what the defense is doing, the ability to read defenses, the ability to go through your progressions and go to the right guy. That comes with experience. And as we all know with Jacob Coker's career, Jacob didn't really put it all together until his 5th year as a college quarterback. He was expected to and didn't beat out Blake Sims in his 4th year. And I think if you ask Jake now, he would tell you he just wasn't ready. He was ready in year 5. And by the time Jake was ready, he was really ready. Alabama won a national championship, and Coker was playing great down the stretch. I think that can be Paul. And I'm not saying it's going to take till year 5. I'm not saying that, although it could. I just think Paul will be at his best when he is really a coach on the field in terms of knowing where all his people are, being able to read the defense in motion. And I think that's when we'll really see Paul at his best. I think each year he's going to be a better quarterback, and he's better this year than he was last year. And I think he'll be a good number 2 guy for Alabama. And if he's pressed into duty, I think he'd be fine.
I agree with that. And a guy that has a lot of attention around him because of his impressive physique. He's got a good arm, and we just continue to hear his name brought up more and more and more. Is Jalen Milroe. What can fans kind of continue to see as he is growing into a quarterback here at Alabama?
Well, I'm super high on Jalen Milroe. I like him a lot as a prospect. I like him even more now. I mean, Alabama's had some physical specimens play quarterback in the past, but I've asked around for other opinions. I think Jalen Milroe is almost a first of his kind at Alabama in the history of the program. And by that, I mean, even on an impressive roster recruited and built by Nick Saban, out of the 85, 87 guys on the team right now, Jalen may be the most impressive on the whole team in terms of the size and speed package. I don't know how many guys on the team that run like he does legitimately in the 4.4, 4.5 range are also as strong as he is. I mean, he's like, a Will Anderson in that sense. I mean, this is a strength and size and speed package. But then you watch him throw the ball, and you'd never dream of moving him away from quarterback because he has legitimate next-level arm talent. Now, I think in terms of being a college passer, the things he needs to work on is, going from a gifted thrower into becoming a gifted passer. And that's going to be, sort of in development during his entire career at Alabama, similar to Jalen Hurts, who was such a better passer as a senior than he was as a freshman, as most kids do that really work on it. And I think Milroe will be a lot like that. But, I mean, his size and strength and natural athleticism is otherworldly. And then throw in the fact that he has real Sunday upside in that arm. And his potential is just through the roof. He's just got to learn how to play the position at this level, and that can take some time.
That's got to be one impressive arm. I mean, Christian Story was football man of the year kind of guy, and he still switched positions. So that's some exciting things to hear about Jalen Milroe. Makes a lot of sense why his name keeps coming up. We're talking with Jimmy Stein at QB_country on the Twitter account, recruiting coordinator for QB Country on 3 Sports, Bama analyst, co-host of Locked On Bama podcast, and so much more. Jimmy, I do want to talk about, the other embarrassment of riches with the recruits here in just a bit, but I do also want to make sure that we send some focus on the quarterbacks that are lining up for some of the top programs in the country. And of course, 15 days away, it's kind of that, that real comparison where you've got a guy making his first start, and De'Aaron King's been playing college football for a really long time at a really, really high level. He is coming off the ACL, but by all accounts, it seems like he's ready to be healthy. What should Alabama fans expect to see out of King when the two meet up in Atlanta at the beginning of September?
I think in terms of, it depends on when you've seen De'Aaron King. I think people have really wide opinions of him that haven't seen him play all the time. I think if you just pick and choose when you've seen De'Aaron, maybe you're not that impressed with him, or maybe you saw him when he was at his absolute best and you're blown away by him. He's been erratic is the wrong word, but he's not always playing his absolute best. But when he does, he's fantastic. I think a lot of people might not remember when he was a sophomore. Now, this was at the University of Houston, but when he was a sophomore, he threw for 3,000 yards and had a 30-6 touchdown interception ratio. I mean, those are outstanding numbers, especially then when you factor in he rushed for like another 700 yards. So he was wildly productive over the course of the season. Now, it doesn't stand up game to game against great competition. And now you factor in that he tore his ACL in January. So I'm not sure what you're going to get out of De'Aaron King two weeks from Saturday. But let me tell you, at his best, he's as good as anyone Alabama will face all season. He's the quintessential dual threat guy. You absolutely cannot sleep on him as a passer. He'll scare you to death with his legs, but then when you overplay that, he'll burn you with the big play with his arm. Now that he's been playing college football for seemingly a decade, he's going to be pretty wise out there. I think Alabama's in for a pretty good test. Alabama is very experienced on defense going into the game. I think ultimately that's going to help a lot against De'Aaron. And he's not going to have the best supporting cast that Alabama will see all season. But King's a very good player, and it's a good test for Alabama in week 1.
No doubt about it. And it'll be interesting to see how his kind of supporting cast helps him out. The Heisman frontrunner, no doubt, is in Oklahoma. And we were discussing a little bit yesterday on the game with Ryan Fowler how that schedule is really, really easy for him. Now, naturally, Iowa State, Texas, those are the big games. A lot of top programs have easier schedules because of the talent gap. But this should be a real opportunity for Spencer to put together a full season rather than starting slow and getting hot towards the end as he has here in the past, right?
That's right. He would be my pick going into the season as the likely Heisman winner or Heisman favorite, maybe even as the number 1 pick in the draft, as we've seen, a couple of years ago with Joe Burrow, who won the Heisman and then was the first pick. And and Mac Jones had a similar type season a year ago and was in contention for the Heisman and then went 15th in the draft. I think this could be kind of the Spencer Rattler season. I mean, in terms of here's a guy who's capable of putting up monster numbers in that offense. He does have a great surrounding cast. He doesn't play a slew of elite defenses. Oklahoma's very likely to be in the middle of the national championship race. And in terms of his skill set, his tool set, he has the type of ability that you often see with the number one overall pick. So this could be a magical season for him. And maybe Oklahoma finally wins the big games they've been waiting on for quite a while.
If that defense is improved the way that it's been speculated, they've certainly got a shot with Rattler at QB. Last national kind of focused here with DJ Uiagalelei out at Clemson. We saw what he was capable of when he filled in for Trevor Lawrence for 2 games, took Notre Dame down to the wire in South Bend. This guy's got the goods.
Yep. Yeah, he's really gifted, talented kid. We all saw that last season, and now we'll see a lot of him. One thing that's interesting to me about DJ's career is that, in his one start, he lost. Now, it wasn't his fault. I think he threw for more yards against Notre Dame than anyone ever had in that stadium's history, against the Irish. That's what he did in his game one start, but he did lose the game or was on the losing end. Now, game one, playing a top 5, very talented Georgia team who's good on defense. It would be something if DJ, who's clearly going to have a great career at Clemson, it would be really strange if he got off to an 0-2 start.
It certainly would. Now let's look on the recruiting scene a little bit. Ty Simpson started his season last night with over 400 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. I saw a question a little bit ago from somebody that works at Roll Tide Wire. How is this guy not a consensus, 5-star? Simpson's really special on the field, though.
Yeah, I think of him that way, and he's actually one of our QB Country guys. QB Country, the company I work for that trains quarterbacks, is in 11 locations all over the South. And while Ty has trained in Mobile with David Morris, who's the head of QB Country, he also trains a lot with Thomas Morris, who is QB Country Memphis, and Ty's not far from there. So Ty's worked with Thomas quite a bit and with David Morris in Mobile. But yeah, when I looked at Ty's numbers last night, I had to double check and make sure that somebody wasn't reporting what he did on PlayStation, because that's what it looked like. I mean, like almost 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, ran for another, and did it all in a half. They took him out, at halftime because the score was getting out of control. Tyler is, the guy I compare him to, and again, I'm not saying he's as good as these guys, just what his skill set is like. He's a lot like Zach Wilson, who was the number 2 pick in this past draft, going to the Jets. And by that, I mean, Ty is a great athlete, first and foremost, but he's also a coach's son. And not just any coach's son. A lot of quarterbacks play for their dads, maybe in high school, or maybe their dad was their QB coach. But Ty's dad is a college football head coach, Jay Simpson at UT Martin. So Ty has grown up with football all around him. He plays that way on the field. He's a coach on the field, but he's also the best athlete on the field. And I think with Ty, it starts with his athleticism. But just when you get wowed by the athleticism and the coach on the field stuff, then you see the arm talent, and it's there. Like a Zach Wilson, Ty's very accurate. The ball gets out quickly. He's a little bit like Bryce in that way. And I think Ty has a huge career ahead of him, and Alabama is on quite a roll at the quarterback position.
And we're too greedy here in Tuscaloosa because in the class following is Arch Manning, and we're talking about legacy here. We're talking about lineage and prestige. There's a handful of us around here at Tide that are more excited about Arch Manning down the pipeline than we are about Ty Simpson. Are we getting off track here, or is Arch really that good?
Arch is really that good. He really is. He's another QB Country guy, so I tend to be a little biased about our guys, but no, Arch is he's really that good. The best way to describe him, I think, and I'm talking about at the same age as his uncles, but Arch is Peyton, but with wheels. I mean, Peyton was maybe one of the great pocket passers that's ever played the game. Arch has that sort of potential and upside from the pocket But what makes him so hard to defend is Arch has a little bit of his granddad in him. You know, Arch can make something happen with his legs. Now, not a 4.4 guy, not a Ty Simpson, not a Bryce Young, not like that. But let's just call it, he has plus athleticism for a pocket passer. And when it's 3rd and 6, and you've somehow gotten all 3 or 4 receivers covered, and you'll need to cover all of them because this kid can really whip through his progression. But when you get everybody covered, Arch can tuck it and get to the sticks. I mean, he's got some of his granddad's feet, and he's so smart, and he's driven, a real driven kid to come from his background. But there's no mistaking when you watch his tape who his uncles are. I mean, he's got a lot of the same mannerisms, the same throwing style, and he has decimated Uncle Peyton and Uncle Eli's records at Newman High School in New Orleans.
Not much. I was a Peyton Manning guy growing up, and he had a few bootlegs of his own, but yeah, no doubt about it. I always get excited when we start talking about Arch Manning. 2 local guys here in the Tuscaloosa area, Tanner Bailey, Ethan Crawford, getting their season started tonight. Both of these guys, incredibly exciting. Tanner Bailey already an Oregon commit. Crawford's got a few SEC offers as well, but I'm sure with his junior year about to get underway, he's about to really open up some eyes around the country as well. Talk about these 2 local kids here in the Tuscaloosa area.
Sure, yeah. Tanner, he's trained with QB Country in Birmingham in the past. He up at Gordo, really happy for him that he ended up at such a prestigious program. Oregon has produced a lot of NFL quarterbacks over the years. I think Tanner has that sort of upside. He's a passer first. Another kid is a good athlete, as they almost all are in ultra modern college football. Almost all these guys are really good athletes, and Tanner certainly is. But he's a passer first, accurate, gets the ball out quickly. That's the type of quarterback it takes these days. And Oregon has a good track record of developing quarterbacks. I think he made a really good decision on where he's going to play. He'll be surrounded by good players in sort of a pass-first league, and that's what kind of guy is. I'm expecting Tanner to have a good career at Oregon. And as for Ethan, most of his football is ahead of him. He's a super athlete. I mean, Ethan could play other spots. One of the things that I like most about Ethan's tape, and I know less about Ethan than the others because he's not one of the kids that our company trains, but Ethan is what I like most about him is he's a guy that you want to move outside the pocket. I mean, that's where he's at his best, is the RPO stuff and rolling out and off-platform throws and kind of backyard football. That's when he's at his best. But if you don't think he can sit in the pocket and pick you apart, you're crazy. He could really just do that. So what I really like about Ethan is there's not going to be an offense that he can't play in. I mean, it doesn't matter. In other words, ultimately, when you see his offer list, you're going to see 5, 6, 7 different types of schemes all offer Ethan. And he has a really bright future. Not the tallest kid, but sort of thing of the past to me. I mean, when some of the best quarterbacks in the world are Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield and Russell Wilson and now Bryce Young coming down the pike, it's not as important as it used to be, and I don't think it's anything that's really going to hold Ethan back. He has a very bright future. In terms of where he's ranked, I think he'll be ranked next year similarly to where you see Tanner ranked now.
A lot of exciting quarterback play to keep an eye on concerning the Alabama Crimson Tide as well as the national scene, and we appreciate your expertise on it. Jimmy Stein, on 3 Sports, QB Country, Locked On Bama, Crimson Tide on Sports Talk 99.5 on Thursdays and Fridays. Jimmy, man, we really appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your day, dude.
I appreciate it, Jacob. Anytime.
Absolutely. Jimmy Stein of QB Country helping us out, breaking down the quarterbacks, and we'll take a break. We'll come back and continue the conversation here on Off the Edge. Tide 100.9, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Hurry to JCPenney and score 3 days of big savings for back to school. Shop hundreds of doorbusters all day, Friday to Sunday, while they last, and stock up on active gear like 50% off select exertion tees, tanks, and capris for women. Plus, get fast savings on Fila athletic shoes for the family, starting at $24.99. Or use your coupon and get an extra 30% off at checkout. Weekdays are back in style. JCPenney. Doorbusters valid 8/20 to 8/22 and excluded from coupon. Coupon valid through 8/22. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Don't miss a play at the Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Your front row seat to all the action. Place bets on all professional and most college sports at the counter, kiosk, or on your phone. Then catch the game on one of our 20 big screens from the comfort of the newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. Plus, the PRR Sports app gives you access to live, in-play sports betting. Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Be more than a fan. Be a player. Must be 21.
Harry's back.
Can I get your attention? I like it when you smile.
Time to play. Harry Connick Jr. and his band.
It was great fun.
Performing songs from across his career.
One of those things.
Harry Connick Jr. Friday, August 27th, Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. Reserved seats are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss this very special engagement with Harry Connick Jr. and his 7-piece band. Time to play. Part of the Coca-Cola concert series.
You and your phone have been through a lot this past year. It's been your lifeline to the world. And now some big wireless company is telling you got to buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too. Because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited talk and text smartphone plans starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Get ready to party with John Party.
I'd have a little dirt on my boots.
November 4th, Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. Live in concert. John Party with special guests Ryan Hurd and Larry Fleet. Reserve seat tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Part of the Coca-Cola concert series produced by Red Mountain Entertainment.
Everything is better at Benton Nissan. At Benton Nissan of Bessemer and Benton Nissan of Hoover, you get even bigger selection. We have more than 180 new Nissans on the ground awaiting immediate delivery. Even bigger savings with financing as low as 0% APR across our most popular models. Plus, every new Nissan comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Drive a little, save a lot. At Benton Nissan of Bessemer and Benton Nissan of Hoover.
Benton Nissan, your friend in the car business.
For well-qualified customers, see dealer for details. N7621.
Benito's line cook just threw in his kitchen towel.
This order needs to go out right now.
He needs to find help before his customers are left waiting.
So sorry. We'll be right with you. Who's got table 6?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You and your phone have been through a lot this past year. It's been your lifeline to the world. And now some big wireless company is telling you got to buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too. Because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited talk and text smartphone plans starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Hurry! Stock up on 3 days of big savings for back to school. Shop smart and score huge savings on doorbusters all day Friday to Sunday while they last. Weekdays are back in style at JCPenney.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A few showers and thunderstorms are likely this afternoon and tonight. The sky mostly cloudy. The high today 87, tonight's low 72. Tomorrow occasionally cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms around. The high at 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 78 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Follow Off the Edge on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for live streams and instant analysis. Off the Edge with Jacob Harrison continues.
Big thanks to Jimmy Stein at QB Country and On3 Bama Sports for helping us break down the quarterback situations here at Alabama, as well as in the recruiting scene and on the national scene. If you missed any of that conversation, tide109.com. You can also check out the YouTube channel for Off the Edge at Off the Edge 109. You can also catch yesterday's conversation with Dre Kirkpatrick there as well. Had a blast having him on and discussing his career, his son's recruitment, and so much more. 205-342-9904 if you want to join the conversation here in the last 10 to 11 minutes here with us. I'm Jacob Harrison, Joe Gaither producing the show. It was a big night for the Alabama Crimson Tide pros as the New England Patriots decimated the Philadelphia Eagles 35-0, but the score is not important. This is the preseason. It's just getting eyes on these guys in their new uniforms in their new homes. And we finally did get to see a little bit of Devontae Smith. Unfortunately, not getting passes thrown to him by Jalen Hurts, who was reportedly, came down with an illness despite dancing on the field in pregame. I'm not here to question that, I guess. It's just, those are the facts. But I would like to formally apologize to Devontae Smith because I said the one thing that the Eagles can't do, and they probably shouldn't continue to do this, and it's not like he was going up against Stephon Gilmore out there, but he had press coverage on one of his lone receptions last night and ran one of the most beautiful zig routes you have ever seen in an NFL preseason game. Devontae Smith looks for real, and he looks clean out there in the number 6 uniforms. I love the NFL for letting these guys go out there and do their thing. And another guy, by the way, is Damian Harris, the starting running back for the New England Patriots, 3rd-round pick. Guy that has really kind of, been buried in that depth chart in New England where they tend to have just a lot of just good running backs. It looks like he's the guy leading the pack for the second straight week. He's started the games for the New England Patriots. He ran in a touchdown last night with Cam Newton, and then another that was a different running back, excuse me, but he did run in one when he was out there with Cam Newton. But still, I mean, he's looking sharp out there, and it's not like Sony Michel isn't playing. He's playing after Damian Harris. So big time moves there from Damian Harris. Mac Jones played very well as well. 13 of 19 for 146 yards. But man, if this guy could buy a deep receiver, he would. He'd trade his rookie contract if he could find somebody that could catch the football downfield. You hope N'Keal Harry's okay. That was a nasty fall, but that was an on-target pass. Another just beautiful dime, 50 yards in the air on a rope. It was on time. There was plenty of velocity. He had another one where he squeezed in a 10-yard dig with some heat. I think he's worked on that arm strength. I think that Mac Jones is he came to win the job, and that's what's so impressive. It wasn't one of those situations where he came in, well, Cam's the guy. I'll just bide my time and continue to work on my craft. It wasn't that situation at all. And this is where I go back to the fact that Mac Jones wasn't patient here at Alabama. It was a case of, I'm going to work my ass off so that when my time does come, which I'm out of control of, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be the best guy for the job, and they're not going to be able to take me out. And that's kind of what's going on here. And Cam Newton stepped up. He was 8 of 9, led a scoring drive, had a 30-yard touchdown of his own. So that's a tight race in New England, and that's very, very exciting. Another exciting factor of that game is that we got to see Landon Dickerson in overalls. He's not yet healthy, but when he is healthy and Philadelphia Eagle fans get to see what he's capable of on the field, he'll probably start his career as a guard if he's able to get on the field this year. If not, in the future, he'll be the center in waiting. But man, plenty to be excited from those two teams as well. A lot of preseason games coming up, and if you want to catch up on what those Crimson Tide players did last night between the Eagles and the Patriots, you can read all about it at tide109.com. You can also check out how the Northside Rams, crushed the Barry Wildcats to kick off their 2021 season 37-6. The story's there at Tide 109. The gallery is there of some incredible photos that J.R. Moore shot for you as well. And this is what it's all about, man, is giving some attention to these high school athletes. They deserve it so much. And tonight from 6 to 9 p.m., Kerry Clark and I will be here on the air for you immediately following the game with Ryan Fowler to give you all the updates on everything going on in high school football in the area. Tonight we got Homewood at Hillcrest. The battle of the Patriots. We'll be there for that one. T County at Bryant as well. Big rivalry there. We'll have feet on the ground. Oakman at Gordo. Good matchup. Sipsey Valley at Northridge. West Blockton at Brookwood, and Central High School at Holt as well. Plenty of good games going on. And not to mention, I mean, just the fact, we talked about it a little bit with Jimmy Stein, two incredible quarterbacks in this area. There's a lot of good football in this area, period. But, the attention does tend to go to the quarterbacks. That's kind of been the theme today. Joe, I know you're a big fan of both of these guys, but the other day you said something that kind of surprised me a little bit. You like Ethan Crawford a little bit more than Tanner Bailey?
Yes, I think Ethan Crawford's the best quarterback in this city. Maybe just the I think it's the athleticism that draws me to him, and I think that he's a year behind. He's a year behind Tanner. I think that we're going to see where he is after his junior year. I think he's going to be about the same recognition that Tanner is, and Tanner's a good player, and I saw him several times last year. And I saw Ethan Crawford twice. I saw Crawford twice. I saw Bailey probably 3 or 4 times. But I think Bailey might need to work on his accuracy just a little bit. He's got a cannon. He's got some wheels. He know it's clear that he's got the leadership ability. His team trusts him, and his team really was invigorated by his return to the team for the playoffs. But if we're splitting hairs, and that's what we're asking him to do, I think Ethan Crawford is a better quarterback, but just a little hair.
Hey, that athleticism, man, in today's quarterback, that modern look, it goes a long way. But I will say, in Tanner's defense, and I certainly you're not hating on Tanner Bailey at all. But in Tanner's defense, dealing with that kind of COVID year, the injuries that he had to deal with. But you mentioned it when Tanner Bailey came back from that broken collarbone for the Gordo Green Wave. It boosted that team to some incredible heights as they got into the playoffs, got here in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and fell just short. All of our teams, had pretty incredible seasons last year that did make it to the playoffs and just fell short. But you expect big things out of all these teams. Northside to get off to that kind of start is very, very impressive, because that's a team, who thought their head coach was going to retire. And because they made such an impression late in the season, and got much further than was expected. That's a team that oftentimes gets forgotten with the story of the Northridge Jags, coming through and being very explosive last year, and Hillcrest and Gordo being what they are. ACA is always a dominant program. They kind of got lost in the mix there a little bit, but no doubt about it, Northside's ready to play. They're ready to make an even deeper run. You can look all around and you're seeing incredible high school football. And I'd be shocked if we end this year, unfortunately in Jordan-Hare Stadium, if we end this year with a Tuscaloosa team not being named a state champion at some level. I would be incredibly shocked, because we have some incredible teams around here. And that's not biased. I mean, that's really looking and seeing, the growth of these programs from year to year. And that just comes with the fact that there's coverage of these teams, and there's knowledge of these teams, and expectations that follow, and that sort of thing is critical to have. It's crucial to have, and it does a lot for the community. So I'm very proud of what we do here at Tide 100.9 in giving you the coverage that these players deserve. Again, Homewood at Hillcrest tonight, T County at Bryant, Oakman at Gordo, Sipsey Valley at Northridge, West Blockton at Brookwood, and Central at Holt. Get out and support your local high school team, whichever one you're involved with. Get out there and support them. And hey, if you want to be a beat reporter for your team, we fully invite that on Friday Night Lights, 205-342-9904. You can call in and give us all the bragging rights. Tell us all about your best players tonight. Friday Night Lights with Kerry Clark and I, as well as Bryant Horn on the scoreboard show at 10 p.m. as well. Until then, between now and then is the Jay Barker Show up next in the game with Ryan Fowler, but I'll see you tonight at 6, and then tomorrow morning for Saturday Morning Showdown from 8 to 11 with Kendall Hallwell, Bryant Horn, and Mason Woods. Till then, if I don't talk to you again between now and then, you should download that Tide 100.9 app. Have an incredible weekend, everybody, and roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to Off the Edge.
Can't tell you how proud I am of our players, our team.
Join us every Monday from 8 to 10 and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and the Tide 100.9 app. Get ready to party with John Party.
I'd have a little dirt on my boots.
November 4th, Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. Live in concert. John Party with special guests Ryan Hurd,